Asmongold is right now talking shit on you and blaming you for a Twitch adpocalypse that he says is happening now. Oh, buddy. Oh, brother. I wonder why he's saying that. Do not give in to apathy. Do not give in to nihilism. You know right from wrong. You keep fighting for it. You keep advocating for it. Okay? This too shall pass. Okay? This too shall pass. Nevertheless, that's it. You have to maintain optimism. And as someone who, once again, has seen the as someone who has seen the trajectory change, especially in the way that people understand this situation, you can't let go. You can't let go of the truth. You can't let go of your advocacy, because the reality of the matter is there are people in far worse conditions than we are, and they live every single day. Okay? I will always use my position of privilege living in fucking America, okay, as a white guy to speak for those who do not have a voice. Okay? Always. And you are in a similar predicament yourself. Okay? You are also in a similar situation. You're in a far greater position overall than the people that you speak for. Okay? And yes, there's a lot of resistance to it. Yes, people get fucking really annoying about it, but it does not matter. What is this? This metaphor is almost a bit too on the nose. Oh yeah, I saw this video. It's funny.
Sir, do you support that flag, or are you just trying to make some money today?
What you think?
I already know. God bless you. God bless you.
What you think?
He said, "What you think, man?" God damn. Anyway, do not cave into cynicism. What do you think about some lefties saying Trump will be better for us because he will erode and mismanage the American empire? I don't know who is saying that, but I disagree with them vehemently, because the collapse of the American empire is not going to happen, one, overnight or in a swift way. Okay? I don't think that it's going to be a just process, and from the ashes, a pro-labor movement is born anew. That's not going to fucking happen. What's going to end up happening is more fascism, more control, more violence, more devastation. Okay? Genocide defenders get even worse. Let's watch this.
So that this video is a sequel to a previous video. I suggest you watch that video first for the full context. Hello everyone. I would like to offer a sincere apology to all of you regarding my previous video, where I denounced the YouTubers Destiny and Lonerbox for their support of the Gaza genocide. I feel like I really let you all down and misled you with that video, because both of them were actually a lot worse than I knew when I made it. Here's a clip that I actually just learned about, where Destiny outright says that he thinks the best solution regarding Israel and Palestine is the complete genocide of Palestinians.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just drop its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but that's about where I'm at.
You just think the Palestine should just pack up and Native American the fuck out of there?
The problem is that it seems like there is a hugely general hostility to Jewish people across really the entire world, but definitely the Middle East. So the problem is that as you weaken Israel's ability for Jewish people to live there, it seems like because there's a lot of different organizations across the Middle East that are highly invested in the destruction of Israel. So that's a really rough thing too. So it seems like if Israel is forced to make concessions to Palestinians, it threatens Jewish people's ability to have a homeland. And So I don't know. It's really shit. Truthfully, the answer is there's no good answer. It's hard Yeah, it's hard. It's a really, really complicated situation.
Well, thanks
Because
for-
it seems like appeasing either end basically means like kind of the destruction of the other end. If you give the Jewish people what they want, Palestinians are essentially permanently cucked out of what they feel is their rightful homeland. And if you give Palestinians what they want, then probably a lot of Jewish people are going to die. Yeah.
That's true.
Now, you might say that he was just joking there, exaggerating, having a good time. I'm not exactly sure how the genocide of the Palestinian people is a laughing matter. But hey, okay. But Lonabox actually asked him afterwards if that was his real opinion. And he made it clear to him that it was.
Because I rewatched the VOD before I joined in. And it did sound like you were kind of saying that you were asked what should happen. And I think you described it yourself as like having like a radicalized position. It felt like when I was speaking to you about it in the moment that you'd kind of moved on to this just seems like the most likely thing. So
I was saying, I think I was giving that as a counter to you saying it was a ridiculous position, but I do think that's probably what should happen. I haven't heard a good argument for what should happen in contrast to that, short of like everybody in the Middle East fucking chills the fuck out.
So Destiny supports the total genocide of the Palestinian people, which was already obvious just from the sorts of things that he argues for, but that's him outright stating it and then reiterating that, he does actually think that when he was specifically given a chance to dial that back afterwards. So Lonabox has known for quite a while, given that Destiny said it straight up to his face, that Destiny wants to genocide all Palestinians. He nonetheless has still, since then, been engaging with him more and more and more, and directly collaborating with him to the point that they are literally filming podcast episodes together in person. Now, there was not really any doubt that Destiny was a genocidal POS. Nonetheless, Lonabox is happy to keep working with him. Lonabox, someone who makes these moralistic attacks on other people all the time, he especially hates Hasan, and then his best buddy, his BFF, told him straight up that he supports genocide. It's only possible for you to work with someone like this after that if you just straight up don't consider Palestinians human. And speaking of that in-person...
That is what it is. That's almost always what this is. And that's what it comes down to. And I think like other marginalized people understand this reality much better than anybody else here, but it's like... Unfortunately, many people don't consider Arabs, Muslims to be like full status human beings and consider them at most collateral damage that they can just turn around and say, that's kind of sad about, or barbaric monsters that deserve to be put down. That's just the unfortunate reality. That's just how systematic racism works, and Islamophobia and anti-Arab racism of this sort is exactly how this operates. Like, you might not... That's why when Asmongold got banned, I said it, like, Asmongold said nothing different than Bill Maher. The only difference is he said the quiet part out loud in a way that, like, Bill Maher knows not to say, right? But it comes from the same place. And whenever people talk about the plight of the Palestinians as though they are just, monsters that... like even their children are dying as like collateral damage because like some of them are monstrous. That's coming from a place where like a lot of our institutions do not think that that this is a wrong way to operate. Okay. Yeah, Islam is a violent religion types. Exactly. Billions of people on the planet who are Muslim, and they're all just like operating on this very violent agenda all the time.
Podcast thing they've got going on. Here's a clip of them talking very recently, which I think makes it even more clear just how callous and disgusting they are when it comes to the suffering of the Palestinian people.
But they were trying to call you a pedo yesterday.
So some kids are really
they
hot.
dug in deep.
Oh,
yeah. These are the people that are like working with the ADL, by the way. Just so people understand, like the people that are having this back and forth are the people that are working with the ADL to like combat anti-Semitism on Twitch, and that is what is like led to it seems a loss of revenue for a lot of content creators because of their like cynical need. Why do you just lie, lol? There is nothing I just said. This isn't about Islam though, lol. Why do you just lie, lol? I don't think I'll ever see the day when Hasan actually just point to what I'm saying that's a lie, and we can have a more normal conversation about this.
It happened in the same day that I was getting accused of wanting to kill babies, like wanting to snipe them or whatever. Fucking Israel.
Some babies are really annoying.
But it's like, how is it that we're both aligned then? If like you want to fucking rape the kids and I want to kill them?
I'm a necrophiliac pedophile.
That's the holy fucking sentence.
After you kill them, I have my way with them.
Jesus.
We could have had a better response there. We could have said it's incompatible. Like, how can I be killing them?
Okay, or that.
Oh well, fuck it.
Did you get that?
Now, if I was the same type of person that Destiny is, I would treat that clip not as him being sarcastic, but instead something that he's saying sincerely, especially because he has a track record of defending ethical CP, for example, ethical CP, or he has a track record of, routinely talking about how hot he finds 15-year-olds. Okay, he has said it in the past, and he has said it recently as well, because he's an edgy boy. Okay. He's an edgy boy. He loves to be into dark humor, okay? That's it. That's the reason why he says stuff like that. I don't believe that he was being sincere in that statement, obviously. I think that he is just saying that to show how edgy he is, right? You claim that every critique is simply because X person hates Arabs. That's just a lie. Yes, you're right. When people say people who are pro-Palestinian, when they are being fucking slaughtered, are actually terrorists, that is a valid critique of people who are anti-genocide and not pure Islamophobia. No, this is a new video.
Very funny, ha 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 ha. So firstly, yeah, Lonerbox, we all saw you justifying / supporting / downplaying Israeli soldiers shooting Palestinian kids in the head. Everyone saw it, okay?
There is no tunnel that justifies shooting toddlers in the head. Israeli snipers.
Does this guy not know how sniping jobs work? Like, the problem with sniping isn't like the accuracy is not because obviously you got your scope and the fucking like it's quite easy, you can accurately snipe, but targets and personnel move really, really fast when you're sniping. Like, snipers make their decisions in less than a split second in combat situations.
So yeah, if people accuse you,
I mean, here.
Snaky debate tactics where he'll get cornered for saying some wild shit like molesting a kid doesn't make you a pedophile.
Like, it's crazy because Sneeko is like an open pedophile as well, for the record. Like, this is a meeting of the minds, The guy who hates anti-Semitism supposedly.
File and then make it about Tate.
If you want to walk through the conversation, we could do it. What do you think a pedophile is?
Somebody who's attracted to kids.
Yes. Somebody who's attracted to prepubescent children. That's what a pedophile is, technically.
That's what you said to your way.
If a 29-year-old fucks a 16-year-old, that's not technically pedophilia. They're not a child. It's just somebody that's abusing a minor.
Bro, okay, this is like a gross conversation that like infects a lot of people's mind with garbage. Instead of doing this debate, instead of gaming for...
Yeah, actually, it's a phobophilia.
of that, they are 100% right to. And secondly, it's not normal to make jokes like this about murdered children. It's not normal to sit across from a guy who's saying this stuff and just sit there and like try to cover for him at best at the end by being like, well, I would have hoped you wouldn't have said that, rather than getting up, leaving the room and disassociating from him forever. This can only happen if you either do not consider Palestinian people human, which I think at this point there is an argument that Lonerbox does not, or you are just such a pathetic grifter, so devoid of any of your own merit, that you are tying yourself to this personality to try and leech off their audience to make some more money. Anyway, so let's move on to Lonerbox's attempted response to me. Firstly, Lonerbox actually caught wind of the fact that I was planning to respond to him, and he privated the VOD. Definitely the behavior of someone who is willing to stand behind what they say, willing to stand behind their beliefs, and who's not desperately trying to hide them because they know how bad it's going to make them look if someone actually goes over them. Unfortunately, I didn't think that he would do this, so I lacked the foresight to download the VOD, so I don't have a copy of it on hand. Nonetheless, I did take a bunch of notes regarding the things that he said that I wanted to respond to, and I'm still going to respond to them. I'll be summarizing his arguments, and if Lonabox has any problem with the way that I'm summarizing these, I suggest that he unprivates his VOD so that people can go there and verify it. Firstly, Lonabox only responded to my video because hasanpiker covered it on his stream. I'm sure he was planning to ignore it if that hadn't happened, but Hasan is such a big platform that he couldn't really afford to ignore it. So thank you, hasanpiker. You're being thanked by tanky, disgusting tanky, bad empanada. So he was responding to Hasan's reaction.
I guess he has no problems anymore with me reacting to his videos, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Get thank Bozo? Yeah. Listen, I've already let my opinion on Bad Empanada be known. He is the most unhinged tweeter, but also an entirely different person when he's doing these very well-sourced, very reasonable YouTube essay arguments. Okay?
To my video on him. Nonetheless, he did at least try to respond to some of the points that I made, though he avoided most of the video. He only responded to the first clip in which he tried to justify the IDF's mass shooting in the head of Palestinian kids, and then he skipped to the end to try and make a gotcha against Hasan, where he tried to cover for himself, laughing when Mehdi Hasan mentioned tortured and raped Palestinian prisoners from Gaza by claiming that Hasan had done the same thing, which is not true, and I will be explaining how. He skipped everything in between that, I'm sure because he knew that he didn't have a way to defend it. He especially did not have a way to defend his association with Destiny from the disgusting genocide propaganda that Destiny did in that video, which was a couple of levels above what Lonabox does, to be fair to Lonabox, though I would have loved to see his excuse for those. So here is my summary of the arguments that he made responding to me, and these are what I will be responding to in this video. Again, Lonabox, just unprivate the VOD if you want people to be able to verify this. 1. His first problem with my response was that I said that doctors in Gaza had seen hundreds of children shot in the head. He claims there is no evidence for there being hundreds of children shot in the head, rather only dozens. 2. He claims that he continued his argument and that I cut him off. He then goes on to reiterate this extra part of his argument in his response, seemingly thinking that it was impossible for me to respond to or something. We will be going over it here and I will be responding to it. 3. He then skips to near the end of the video, where he responded to Mehdi Hasan denouncing the kidnapping, mass torture, and rape of Palestinian prisoners from Gaza in Israeli concentration camps, claiming that his response was actually in regards to Palestinian prisoners from the West Bank. He then attempts to defend him laughing at that by dishonestly claiming that Hasan laughed at what he called raped Jewish women. 5. Lonabox complained that he did not deny that there were systemic issues in Israel's conduct in the war in Gaza. He used those words exactly. He said that I am misrepresenting his position by making it look like he does deny that. So I'll be explaining here how all of that is a load of kablooey and how his response only dug the hole deeper. Okay, so now let's respond to Lonabox's points. 1. He claimed there is no evidence of hundreds of children being killed. So let me explain how I came to the conclusion that there were minimum at least 100 children who were killed. It's quite simple. One doctor said that he had encountered 13 separate cases of children shot in the head. The article then goes on to state that 44 different doctors who were interviewed by the New York Times saw cases of children shot either in the head or in the body. Now, so if one doctor saw 13 cases, do you think it's fair to assume that these other 44 doctors saw, say, at least 2 cases each? Because I think it is. If each of those 44 doctors saw 2 cases each, that's 88. Add 13 to that, that's 101. Hundreds right away there. That is a completely fair assumption to make. In fact, if anything, that's going to be a vast underestimate because this is only a limited selection of people who were interviewed by the New York Times. Not every healthcare professional was investigated, and surely not every child shot in the head has even been accounted for. So I'm absolutely justified in saying that there was at least 100, though the real number is likely far higher. And my grounds for saying that are completely 100% solid. This is something that these people do a lot when it comes to atrocities against Palestinians, is they demand absolutely picture-perfect proof of everything, when they are willing to accept practically nothing regarding what the Israelis say about supposed atrocities against them. For example, and as we'll be going into further detail later in this video, Lonabox is someone who still spreads this idea that on October 7th, Hamas mass raped tons of Israeli women. He has never seen any evidence for that, even remotely as strong as this evidence for there being hundreds of children shot in the head by IDF soldiers presented in the New York Times, because such evidence simply does not exist. Yet he's happy to believe that.
At the end of the day, I don't think the evidence of the rapes is as weak as you're making them out to be. It seems to be the evidence for it is about as good as we can get for any conflict in the past, and ones that we've happily accepted.
Yet, in this case, he's like, where'd you get hundreds from? There's no evidence of that. I need picture-perfect proof. Actually, I need to see the corpse myself. I need to examine it myself. I need to get up close and personal with it myself. Otherwise, it never happened. But hey, let's throw him a bone here. Let's say that we can only use actual specific cases specifically mentioned in the New York Times article. That's still dozens. How many children shot in the head do you think we need before we can establish a pattern? Dozens? I'd say that's sufficient, right? The desperation in his arguments is very, very clear. Okay, so after that, he then moved on to claiming that I did not watch his follow-up, that I deliberately excluded it from the video. What actually happened is I let him talk, I let him finish everything that he was saying. These people often like to claim they're being clip-chimped dishonestly, even when you just let them speak for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time. And yeah, I'm going to show it to you guys right now so that you can see precisely what I mean.
But when Israel shoots children in the head, 3 American doctors went to Gaza. Dr. Feyyaz Sidra, Dr. Irfan Galaria, and a Jewish American doctor called Dr. Mark Perlmutter. All of them came back at separate times, said children were brought into hospitals we were in with gunshot to the head, sniper shots. Perfect. Exact targets. There is no tunnel that justifies shooting toddlers in the head. Israeli snipers.
Does this guy not know how sniping jobs work? Like, the problem with sniping isn't like the accuracy is not because obviously you got your scope and the fucking like yeah, it's quite easy. You can accurately snipe, but targets and personnel move really, really fast when you're sniping. Like snipers make their decisions in less than a split second in combat situations. Unless he's suggesting there were just a couple of kids sitting on the hill and a guy opposite in a building just went, got him, take him out. Maybe someone committed a war crime. But I don't think that's Israeli policy, is to snipe kids for no reason, to snipe toddlers, but okay.
You can tell us why. You can defend them.
So this is where I cut Lonerbox off in my original response, because he had finished speaking and started playing the video again. But these people love to claim that they are being dishonestly clipped so much that you can let them speak and clearly finish their sentence, and they'll still claim that there's some sort of extra context that absolves them even when...
By the way, what's really interesting about this kind of thing, like this kind of like attitude that they demonstrate regularly, oh, I'm being clipped out of context, is that the context never actually makes it look better at all. But in the circumstance where they will, you know, put a suspiciously clipped 17-second video of me in front of a congressperson like Richie Torres, it's very obvious I'm actually saying the opposite thing that they're claiming I'm saying. And that's what's so hilarious about it. It's like always projection. Very famously, Congressperson Richie Torres got this 17-second clip of me where he was claiming that I was saying like, oh no, there's nothing like acting like I was claiming that there's nothing wrong with like the mass rapes that Hamas had committed. And they clipped it in a way where to make it seem like that was my position. That was not my position at all. My position was that the violence that may have happened on October 7, and certainly there was plenty of it, okay, real or exaggerated does not matter, does not justify genocide of Palestinians, okay? He tried to make it seem like I was pro-sexual violence or that I was denying Hamas rapes happening or something like that, whereas I never said that rapes had not happened on October 7. As a matter of fact, that conversation was me talking to a random person and explaining to them why I do think that there are most likely sexual assaults that took place on October 7. So that's what's so crazy about the situation, is that they will literally fucking clip it out of context to make it seem like I am saying the exact opposite thing that I'm actually saying in that circumstance.
And there clearly isn't. So let's continue listening to the argument that he makes following this one.
Mehdi, Mehdi, forgive me for going abstract, but I do want to go to some principles here. So you are listing a number of specific incidents that you feel cumulatively add up to a very, very much an overreaction.
Yeah, do you think, IDF soldiers shoot each other as well. Yeah, like IDF snipers kill their own soldiers. Do they do that intentionally? Is that because Zionists are so anti-Semitic that they... I don't even know what the argument is there.
Okay, so I think a fair summary of his argument here is that if you think that Israeli soldiers are systemically, intentionally shooting Palestinian kids in the head, as the evidence indicates, you must necessarily then think that because there is also evidence that IDF soldiers are killing other IDF soldiers in friendly fire accidents, that they are doing that intentionally. And he uses this like he thinks it's like a great logic lord, gotcha, and I'm totally destroyed, and that's why I had to avoid it in my initial response. Okay, so here's the thing here. Here's the thing, Loner Box. If you believe that the IDF is systematically shooting Palestinian kids in the head, you do not also need to believe that IDF soldiers are intentionally killing each other in anti-Semitic hate crime incidents. That is the simple answer there. I do not understand how you possibly came to that leap of logic, that believing one of these means you must necessarily believe the other. I don't understand how you consider yourself like a logical genius debate lord. I don't understand how you could not only...
Starts the argument with their context never matters, and is the argument with they don't care about my context, cry emoji. I think that applying a blanket statement like this and refusing to recognize refusing to recognize what I was saying is basically an admission of defeat. Like, you've lost it, you've lost the argument, and now you are trying to tackle a straw man, a straw argument that you have cultivated. I said in this video that that Bad Empanada is engaging in, that the additional context almost always makes it look worse. He's doing that right now. He's showing the additional context. He's walking you through the extra context in this very moment. Okay? He's doing it right now. I can give you many different examples as well. Like when Destiny famously got, I believe, departnered for saying, I don't care what the fuck happens. These right-wing militias need to mow down Black Lives Matter protesters. If you were